This is from my medicine cabinet, and the bottle is almost empty because I took most of it. I have had no problems to speak of, and this is called tryptophan. And I, like a lot of other people, have taken it for sleeping problems. I've also taken this brand over the years, and again, have experienced no problems with it. That is not the situation with the person that you're about to meet. Here is Dorothy Wilson, and the reason she's not sitting here in the AM Philadelphia studio with us talking to us is because she's in a wheelchair. The reason she's in a wheelchair, says the doctor you're going to meet in a minute, she took L-Tryptophan. Dorothy, you work for Unisys, right?
That's right, Wally.
Management, middle-level management?
Yes.
Support your mom?
Yes.
Okay. Never been sick a day in your life, right?
Very healthy.
Okay. Took tryptophan because, like a lot of people, you have a problem sleeping.
That's correct. That's correct. I'd been having trouble sleeping for a long time, and L-Tryptophan was recommended to me by a doctor because it was perfectly safe, non-addictive. No reason in the world why you couldn't take something as safe as L-Tryptophan.
Absolutely. That's the reason I started taking it.
Right.
We had a doctor on the show who recommended, hey, if you're having problems sleeping, why take a Seconal or these other things that kind of numb your mind? Take something that's natural. It's an enzyme. You can get it in any drugstore. Right. Go ahead and take it.
Available naturally in milk and turkey. Available in many of the foods we eat.
Okay, so they hooked us both, Dorothy, along with several million other people. What happened? Now, this happened when?
Well, I started taking the L-Tryptophan in May of '88, and then in September of '88, I was very active, and I used to walk a lot. I was out for one of my walks, and I began to feel a strange sensation in my legs, which I knew was very abnormal. And then not too long after that, I started to get very severe cramping. I had a lot of pain, so I went to my family doctor. He did some blood tests. I had abnormalities. I had elevated liver enzymes and this very high eosinophilia count. And the combination didn't mean anything to him. He knew there was something wrong, but he couldn't diagnose what it was. Then as time went on, by November, I was not able to get up steps. I wasn't able to get up from a chair without a lot of help. And by the time I was hospitalized in December, I'd become so fatigued and so weak that I couldn't turn over in bed without somebody helping me.
When did you stop working?
I stopped working in December when I became so weak, and at the time I was hospitalized.
So that was Dorothy, that was a period of how long between the time you took it and the time that you couldn't even work anymore?
I started taking it in May, and I stopped taking the L-Tryptophan in October.
But by December you were, for all intents and purposes, by December you were an invalid.
The symptoms continued to get worse, even though I had stopped taking the L-Tryptophan. But the really bad symptoms didn't occur until several months later. Several months after that, I became so weak that I wasn't able to walk. And I was not able to get up from a lying to a sitting position unless somebody picked me up. My jaw would lock closed or would lock open. I was not able to eat many times. We were afraid that I would have to go to a liquid diet. It became very, very severe.
So you're on disability?
I went on disability from my corporation in December and really expected to get back to work in a few weeks, and has never been able to return to work.
But you are the support of your mother.
I am the support of my mother, that's correct.
So Dorothy, how are you getting along?
Well, it's been very difficult. Thank God that I did get disability from my corporation and Social Security disability, but it's obviously not nearly as much as I've been paid, and now I have other expenses I have to pay for my insurance, which before was covered completely by the company. So there are a lot of additional expenses. It's been very difficult. You know, I've been a very active person.
Right.
I did a lot of things, and now I can't even hold a book to read.
Is it true that when you were in the hospital for this, that they discovered a lump in your breast?
Yes, that's true. In December, when I was hospitalized for this, and they ran a whole battery of tests for just about everything you can think of, they found the lump in my breast, which then proved to be cancerous, and I had a mastectomy not too long after that. So it was like every day I would wake up and I'd wonder what was going to happen to me today. And all through this, you know, doctors were very, very supportive in validating my symptoms, but they really were not able to figure out what was wrong. I had been misdiagnosed in December as having Guillain-Barré, and then as time went on, the doctors really didn't think I had that, and I really never was convinced that I had it. I didn't have a good feeling about it because too many of the symptoms were not like Guillain-Barré.
Well, your doctor, one of them, is here, and in a second he'll tell why he thinks In his medical opinion, L-Tryptophan puts you in a wheelchair. And Dorothy, here's what we'll do. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll chat with you and also with your doctor and the attorney who represents you. Plus, we'll take some telephone calls. We'll do that as AM Philadelphia continues. Don't go away. Welcome back to AM Philadelphia. We just talked with Dorothy Wilson, who's in Northeast Philadelphia, at her house because she couldn't come here for obvious reasons. She's just simply too weak. We are happy to introduce to you her attorney, first of all. His name is Stephen Scheller. He is an attorney, specializes in medical malpractice and product liability cases. You're suing what you think is the bad guy, and we'll ask you about that in a second. To his left is Dr. Bruce Freundlich from the University of Pennsylvania Hospital. He's an internist. He specializes in rheumatology, that is diseases like arthritis and immunity and things like that. Doctor, is it your medical opinion that this woman is in a wheelchair because of L-Tryptophan?
Yes, it is.
Is it your medical opinion that L-Tryptophan may have had anything to do with her breast cancer?
That's much less clear. I think we need a lot more documentation and evidence from other cases to show that. At the moment, I would say no.
Is it your medical opinion that this bottle of L-Tryptophan was part of a contaminated batch and that everybody who bought this, basically expecting a relief from insomnia or premenstrual syndrome or whatever, was rolling the dice?
Well, it's not 100% clear at this point that there was a contaminant. Most of the evidence does point to that as the cause. What the contaminant is, if there is one, has yet to be identified.
Would you ever recommend L-Tryptophan to a patient?
I personally wouldn't, and I hadn't in the past.
What do you think of L-Tryptophan?
I think it's like many products from health food stores. It's an unproven remedy for sleep. There are some almost anecdotal reports that tryptophan is effective, but it's controversial.
Mr. Scheller, you say, in your opinion, you're going to go to court, and the question is, first of all, we're going to go to court, and second of all, who are you going to say is the bad guy?
Okay. Well, the main problem that we have with L-Tryptophan is we've traced most of the cases, and I'm handling several of them at this point, to a Japanese manufacturer called Showa Denko. Showa Denko is said to be the 4th largest integrated chemical company in the world, and has net profits, it said just last year, of $1.9 billion.
What did they do, you allege?
What they did is they took a product back in 1987, L-Tryptophan, which has been around for a while, and changed the manufacturing process. And we believe they filtered out less of the impurities that are there. L-Tryptophan is not a natural product, contrary to the way it's purveyed by Nature's Bounty and people and and health food stores and markets that sell it. It is a chemically synthesized product made in ways that if you knew how it was made and what goes into it, you wouldn't touch the stuff.
Is it your legal opinion that in doing so, Showa Denko caused, again, your opinion, and you plan to prove in court that Showa Denko did what? Did they with careless neglect?
Well, we think two things are going on. Firstly, on the product liability law in Pennsylvania, we don't have to prove they were careless. We believe they were more than careless in this particular instance, even though we don't have to prove that. And of course, they're being unbelievably uncooperative. They've tried to, even though they've sold millions of dollars of this product in the United States, they claim that the United States courts lack jurisdiction over them.
Who do you sue? I mean, how do you sue a Japanese company?
Well, it's very complicated. You have to sue them in a way where you have to translate the complaint into Japanese. You have to show that they are not doing business here through a shell corporation, which is basically what they are trying to allege. And it is extraordinarily complex. I don't think any Japanese company should be permitted to do business in the United States or make any sales of products in the United States unless they, before they make the sales, agree in writing to be subject to the courts in our country.
One more question, then we'll go to the phones. Is it your opinion that we place much more stringent rules and regulations? I mean, is this the car thing all over again? Do we put much more stringent rules and regulations on American manufacturers of L-Tryptophan or American manufacturers of these health foods than we do on Japanese?
I can't say for certain, but I feel that foreign corporations, particularly in this instance, are getting away with things they shouldn't be allowed to. This was never subject to review by the Food and Drug Administration. It is a drug, in my opinion. It's certainly got some kind of problem with it. Literally millions of people took it, and we don't know how many people have been affected by it.
Here's what I'll do. The phones are all lit up, and we're going to go to those phones in 2 minutes. What does Philadelphia have to say, and what do they have to ask? Medical answers, legal answers, and most importantly, the poor woman who's been affected by all this as AM Philadelphia continues. Don't go away. Welcome back to AM Philadelphia. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hi, Wally.
Hi.
I'm a lady calling from Palmyra, and I believe that that lady is an isolated case, her problem. I'm very sorry to hear what's happened to her. I know so many people that take it over the course of years and years, including myself, 8 years.
Right.
I'm a recovering alcoholic, and when I first came out of rehab, I really needed some aid in sleeping and didn't want to go to pills. And my second point is this. I believe that the American Medical Association wants to somehow get involved in this so they can ban it and then later on make money and have prescriptions written on it. That's my comment.
Okay, okay, don't you go away. You've challenged the doctor, and I want you to stay here to hear his reaction. That's what it is. It's, your ulterior motive is you want to make it a prescription item only, and then you want to make money off selling it.
I think that's a terribly cynical thing to say, and I assure you that that's not the case. This is something that sort of came out of the blue. It's caused a very serious problem. It seems that the tryptophan is causing the body to attack itself in what we call an autoimmune type reaction.
Should it ever be on the market again?
It's not clear. I think if a contaminant is identified and can be eliminated, which it should be able to, then you can put then you can put the tryptophan back on the market. Whether I would use it for sleep, whether it's really indicated, is another story. I don't think the data are so fantastic for that.
Okay. Thanks for calling. Hi, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I live in the greater Philadelphia area, and I had a girlfriend just recently die in May of L-Tryptophan. She experienced a horrible death until the day that she died. And again, like your friend that you have on the show, they had trouble misdiagnosing her. She went through all kinds of tests.
Right.
But in the end, that she did die. My concerns are two. Number one is that they went back to the health food store where she purchased the L-Tryptophan, and it is still on the shelves. And I want to know what's being done about taking this off the shelves. I agree that it should not be on the shelves if it is not a quote-unquote natural food. Secondly, I get a concern, too, that now when you walk into a health food store, what is natural? What isn't natural? I mean, that when you go to a health food store, a lot of people think, well, I'm taking a natural vitamin.
Right.
I take Dolomite. I'm not going to be concerned about the Dolomite that I take.
Let's get you an answer. First of all, should any store in the United States of America be selling L-Tryptophan? Is it against the law?
It's against the law, and I think this should be immediately reported to the Food and Drug Administration and to the Center for Disease Control. One other quick comment in relation to that. I'm really surprised, but apart from that, just the lady that called before, if anybody is on the national hit list of the AMA, the American Medical Association, it's me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And,
yeah, I noticed that you and the doctor were getting along surprisingly well this morning.
So I would say that I'm not saying that this should be a prescription product, but I think there is, the point the telephone caller is making now, this is sold as a product that has no starch, no allergy reactions, no problems, as a health food in effect. And this is the problem with health foods. They don't label, put anything on their label as to how they're made, what they contain.
Okay. Dorothy, I have to ask you quickly, do you have hope? Do you feel like you're going to get better? I mean, this has been an awful period of time in your life.
Well, yes, it has, but certainly since my worst weakness, I've shown some improvement. But unfortunately, what happens is the longer that I'm unable to walk, the less likely it is that I'll walk again.
Let me ask your doctor. Can you leave us with a glimmer of hope? Is there any medicine? Is there anything in medicine's arsenal that can help this woman?
Oh yeah, we're trying many different things, and some have been successful. For people that have skin thickening, we have used the vitamin A type product, which is actually not sold in health food stores, but is in the pharmacy, called Accutane. For people who have muscle cramps and spasms, and
can you get her up to speed? Can you get her back out of that wheelchair and back to being the productive individual she was?
That's not clear. A tincture of time is going to tell that.
We hope it happens. Dorothy, literally, there but for the grace of God go a lot of us, myself included. We wish you just all the luck in the world. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Wally.
And to Steve Scheller, her attorney, and Dr. Bruce Freundlich from the University of Pennsylvania, her physician, we thank you as well, gentlemen. Stay with us as AM Philadelphia continues. Don't go away.